welcome back to another speed build video. My name's Jess and today I'm building in San Sequoia on a 30 by 20 lot, and today's build is some townhouses inspired by the iconic painted ladies in San Francisco and just the townhouses you see in general in San Francisco, really colorful and unique. And I thought it would just be really fun to have this in game since this is a world based on San Francisco. So yeah, this is my best interpretation of this style of build, and I really had a lot of fun with this. Definitely got to use a lot of color, and as you can see, this is a limited pack build, so I did only use Growing Together and base game for this build, which I'm pretty proud of. It definitely was a little bit difficult, but I think overall I was able to come up with something that's really cute and will be fun to use in gameplay. So you can see I'm just getting the layouts figured out. I wanted to make sure I had everything correct before I got into doing all the exteriors, so I didn't have to do too much changing around. And it just took me a little bit of adjusting to figure everything out, but I really, really like the look of these houses. And each house I wanted to look unique, but still have a through line through all of them. So I used like different roof pieces, different colors, of course. And I love this siding that we got from Growing Together. So that was kind of where everything started off. I wanted to use all the colorful siding that we got in the new pack. And I figured I might as well try this style of build. And yeah, this is what I came up with. And I think you can already see kind of the direction of this build just from this level of detail. It did take me a little bit longer to do the detail on this build because I used a lot more little intricate details that I don't normally gravitate towards when I'm building my normal style of houses. So really fun to use different items and definitely to utilize base game to its full potential with using all the colors, because I do have to say the green and blue blend in really nicely to this siding, which is super cool. And you'll see me use the windows in just a little bit, and you'll see just how well it blends into each build. So there you can see the green windows, and then of course I'll add in the blue windows. And I also loved the shingle siding that we got in Growing Together. I used it on each of the roof pieces, and I just think it adds just a little extra pop of something that I really, really like the end result of. So as you can see, I'm using, I think it's a spandrel. I think that's what they're called. Or maybe a corbel. But anyways, I'm using that little decorative piece to add on a little bit of something in the corner of that build. And the last thing I just wanted to do was add in the stained glass to the top of the build. And I really, really think this came together so nicely. I was so inspired by all the pictures I was seeing, but that's also why I'm inspired by the painted ladies, but I'm not doing an exact copy because they're so specific and we definitely don't have everything in game we need to kind of pull off a build like that. But you could see I'm just fencing in the backyard area. I did want there to be a little bit of space to hang out outside, but this is a smaller build. This lot is pretty small. So there wasn't a ton of space, and there wasn't a lot of space for landscaping, but I did my best to add in just a few details that felt unique to each house, but also kind of worked together. So again, when I'm landscaping, I'm always trying to kind of take in the plants that are around the world. So I use these bushes because that's what was around in the other parts of the world. And I just think that's like a little tip to help your landscaping blend in a little bit better to the space you're building in. I know it can be pretty difficult, and I'm definitely not an expert on landscaping, but that's really helped me and really helped me in this build because I don't usually do builds like this that kind of look like they're supposed to be in a city. So trying to make it blend in and look like it was a seamless part of this kind of city walk area was a little bit difficult, but I think I was able to kind of pull it together. And of course, having the limitations of only using base game and growing together meant that I didn't have all the pieces that I would normally use to kind of get this to feel like a city. Of course, city living is really helpful with that. But I think I managed to pull it off. And here you can see those wonderful lights that you can see throughout the world. I think that really helped pull it together. And then what was fun, because we did get some kids' bikes in this pack, I was able to put some of those on the bike rack out front. And I just think that really is a cute little element, and of course really nice for gameplay so your Sims can do some bike riding. I didn't even realize we got that with this pack until I was just kind of searching through the catalog, and I was like, oh, we have bikes. So always learning more as I'm going through building. But you can see we're starting on the first house. So for each house, I'm gonna just do the entire house and then move on to the next one. I'm not gonna do like the whole first story of each house. Just gonna move on once each one is totally finished. So in this house, this I will have to say is probably my favorite house because I did use the most of the new items. And this is kind of what I consider to be the main house, kind of where you would have your main family. And I really, really enjoyed being able to use the different items. I will say that like this couch and actually the other couch that we got in the pack are not my cup of tea. I would not normally use them, and this is probably the only time I'll use them with being limited with my building. But I do really think that it makes the build feel warm and definitely has a family vibe to it. So I think all in all it worked out, just not my favorite look. Here you can see I'm working in on the kitchen, and so I tried to do with this build a kind of modern family house. So something that looked very lived in, but also was modern and renovated on the inside. So I used these base game counters, and I really like this combination of the white on the bottom and the kind of tan cupboards on top. I just think it adds in a little bit of warmth instead of just having stark white. And I did clutter up the kitchen shelf as best I could, but of course we don't have a ton of options in base game, and we didn't get a ton of new things with growing together, but I think I was able to pull it off with the limited kind of supplies I had. And so there was just enough space to add in a small dining room table. I will have to do some play testing with some of the items I added in, just to be sure that your Sims can travel around them. But in the last build I did, I had just about the same amount of space, and I did play test it, and your Sims could route around it. So I'm hoping it will be the same for this build, or else the dining room will definitely be just a 2-person dining room, and there will be space outside though for your Sims to sit. So hopefully that'll work. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I definitely have a lot of playtesting ahead of me for all 3 of these builds. But I am excited to try them all out and continue to do a little bit of the infant gameplay, because so far that's the only gameplay I've done with infants, is just doing play testing for my builds. So it's a good excuse to actually get some gameplay time in. So I wanted to use the new kind of clutter items we got with growing together to kind of look like there was a craft in progress on the kitchen counter, and I really like the effect of that. Just makes the house feel so lived in, and I really, really like how that area came together. Definitely my favorite kitchen out of the 3 houses. This house is, well, like I said, I think my favorite house in general. But here you can see we're moving on to the second story. So I wanted to try and keep the yellow color throughout wherever I could in the build. So of course in the bathroom, I went ahead and used the new wallpaper and flooring that we got. And I really love that it kind of mirrors the wood flooring that I have in this house. I think that is just a really nice through line through the build. And you can see the bathroom just really is a yellow bathroom. I have to say I got really, really bored of building bathrooms after the first like 3. So I definitely kept them pretty simple, but that is the one benefit of building it with limited packs is you have less options, less choice, and less like items to clutter with. So it meant that I only could do so much, which ultimately proved to be kind of a nice thing with how many houses I just had to do with this build. So yeah, kind of a difficult challenge to still only use like a limited pack, but also kind of nice because there's so much less that you have to go through in the catalog and so much less clutter options. So you just have to work with what you've got. So here you can see I'm working on the parents' room, and I'm so happy I got to use that new bed. I absolutely love the new bed. If you saw my recent video, I talked about how it's definitely my favorite item that we got in growing together. I just think it's so beautiful, and I see myself using it in so many builds in the future. I would absolutely love to have it in real life. So I just feel like the Sims are really doing such a great job with the new packs and really upping the quality of the items that we get. Not everything is perfect, of course, but I think things are really starting to improve, which is super exciting. And so for the kids' room, I just went for this dinosaur bed, and everything kind of came after that. I just wanted to have a little bit of a dinosaur theme. I will say on that rug, which is a new addition to base game, we have the same exact swatch as the bed, but I just thought it was too matchy-matchy, but you can easily change that if you do want to have that kind of matching style throughout. But here you can see we're moving on to the second house. So in the second house, I kind of envisioned this being the grandma or grandparents' house, and this would kind of be where the kids would come to hang out. So there's no kids' bedroom per se, it's more of a playroom. And I just tried to make this feel like comfortable, but definitely with a little bit more of an older style. And again, I tried to keep the colors from the outside throughout the house. So I did want to add in this green couch and chair just to carry it through a bit. And I love the new rug we got with the pack. I think it looks so good in this room. It's always exciting when things come together, especially with the limited items that I had. I got really bored of the rugs that I was using, so being able to change them up and have things that match really nicely was so exciting. So I tried to change the layout in each of the houses just a little bit so they all had their own kind of quirks to them. And in this house, the kitchen is a little bit more stretched out, I guess you would say. And I think it came together nicely, and I kind of put that faux island down because there wasn't enough room for an actual island, but I really like the effect of that. And I just feel like this kind of came together to feel like Grandma's house, which was exactly what I was going for. And I will say I totally forgot about the new fishing items that we got in the pack, so I'll have to be sure to add that because it just gives me Grandma and Grandpa vibes. Fishing items. I don't know about you, but like I don't really know anyone who fishes except my grandparents, or at least they used to. So yeah, here you can see we're moving on to the second story. And in the second story, you'll see kind of what I was talking about that playroom area. And for the bedroom, I wanted to really use this bed in particular that is green and yellow. And I really love the effect it had in the bedroom and just the color scheme it brought in. And over in that kind of awkward space, I thought I'd put a rocker because I thought grandparents would like to sit there and just look out on the street and see what's going on down below. But here you can see I'm working on the bathroom, so I think I just wanted to get it over with, so I started there. And again, just adding in little pops of green there to carry throughout the build. And yeah, I ended up really liking this little bathroom. I think it came together really nicely. Considering it's mainly base game, I really like the combination of colors that came together. But here you can see I am starting on the bedroom, and that's the bed that I was particularly talking about. I absolutely love this bed, even though it is base game. Not that base game doesn't have some great items that I use often, but this bed in particular I really like in base game. So I wanted to be sure to use it in these builds, and I think it really came together. So here you can see this is the kind of green and orange room. I wanted to just try and squeeze in as many items for kids to play with, and I also thought it would be really cute to have a sleeping bag on the floor, like your Sims would come to spend the night at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Yeah, so I thought that would just be a really cool element to add in. So this is we're already on the third house. I was like, not ready for it. So in the third house, I kind of pictured this being the more artsy kind of Sims who lived here, and definitely just a more unique style. And I tried to carry the blue throughout as well. And you can see it's more of a soft blue than the blue on the outside. And I guess you'll see kind of what I mean, more of a sky blue color, but I really like the color and what I was able to create just as a through line. So I will say, in building this, I don't really expect you to have 3 different families for this build. I think that would get really difficult to use, but I think it could be really fun to have like different generations and have grandparents live in one of the houses. Maybe have one of your teenagers, when they grow into a young adult, can move into this house from the yellow house. And I just thought there could be cool elements there. So I did go to my gallery and grab out some classic paintings, because I did kind of envision the people living here being painters. So I wanted to have some paintings that are actually in the game and use it as decor items, because I have to tell you, I was running out of different paintings to use. I used every painting I feel like in the catalog. So I definitely needed some help from No CC Art, but I'll be sure to link that down below so you can find it in the gallery as well. But that is something that's really cool in the gallery that you can look for, is specifically art that is from the game itself. And I think that's a fun way to kind of decorate up your space with pieces that your Sim could actually do. Of course, you could just have your Sim paint those things as well. That is definitely an option. But you can see there is a little dedicated dining room space in this house, which is kind of a nice change up from the other houses. And then I did want to add a bathroom. I made sure to add a bathroom on every floor, because I just feel like that's so much easier for gameplay to not have your Sims go up and down the stairs. So now we're moving on to the upper story. And in the upper story, I added in a little paint corner, which I thought would be perfect for this family. Of course, because I was seeing them as painters, I needed to fit a canvas somewhere, so that awkward one tile was perfect for adding in a canvas. So here you can see I'm working on the nursery, and I went for kind of a green, blue, yellow color combination. I will say I'm curious if the colors you see here, if you see them as green or blue, like on the crib, is that a green or is that a blue to you? I feel like I had some difficulties discerning it. Like in different lights, I thought it was blue, but now I kind of see it as green. So I'd love to know what you think and what you kind of interpret it as, because I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing things with all the different colors. So that I wanted to be sure to have it be an infant's room as well as a newborn's room, so it would be easy to have that changeover. And that's also in the first house, I made sure to have it have room for an infant, toddler, and child, so you could easily move throughout the life stages as well. But here you can see I'm working on the bedroom, and I have to say we do not have great beds in base game. So I kind of used my favorite, and then there's just this one left, which I absolutely love, but I do think is kind of an odd bed for the vibe of this build. But I do like how it came together, and of course with this being a artistic Sims house, I thought it ended up working really nicely. So we're moving on to the bathroom, and I just kept it really the same as downstairs. Really simple. I was able to use the new tub though, which is always exciting because it's so beautiful. I really, really love the new tub. I think it's another one of my favorite items that we got in the new pack for sure. And you can see now I totally forgot to do the outside spaces, so I'm just adding those in. Kept it really simple. Again, we don't have a lot of options with base game, but I think I made it work. So over in the grandparents' house, I wanted there to be a little space where they could sit outside and enjoy the nice sun. And that actually means we're coming to the end of the build. So I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, a great week. Thanks again for watching. Bye.